everybody, welcome back. So today it's like 90 degrees out in Pennsylvania, which is kind of odd for this time of year, but I just want to do a quick tour and update on the garden. It's a little sunny outside today, as you can see, but we're gonna go ahead and show you some progress on the garden. I planted it on, I believe, May 14th. Today's the 21st of June, so it's been, over a month now, but we're just gonna give a quick update. All right, so here is inside of the garden. I have morning glories popping up through that I added in. I'm gonna go pretty quick through this. Still, my pretty quick is very slow, but I just want to get everything shown in a short time. So I got this planter at the Goodwill or Salvation Army. I repainted it, and I threw in some lettuce. I think it's called a flycatcher. And on the bottom there's lily of the valley and strawberries. So as we move over here, my carrots are looking really good. A lot of these are the purple carrots. So these are in a raised bed. And there's some peas, you can kind of see them there. My peas, I just kind of throw them all around the garden. So I'm not looking to can them, I'm just looking to snack on them. So this is Artemisia, and got this at a yard sale. It's pretty cool. I added in a blueberry bush. It is a little stressed. You can see the red on it. But here's my Oriole. So you guys can see my Oriole's pretty friendly. I'm not very far from him. And there's also a female. There's a goldfinch. So as you can see, my garden is very friendly with the birds. So back to the plants. I know the birds are cool, but we have a yellow bell pepper there, I believe is what it is. Some sort of yellow bell pepper. Here's a jalapeno in a pot. There's a normal green bell, and a normal green bell. Those are all from seeds that I started. Those are those AG pineapple. That's some random one I started, a tomato right there. And if you guys look in my pots, look at these potatoes. I mean, those are big pots. Now that is a mixture of compost, straw, and soil that I made. And you can see the tops on these are massive. And also there's already been flowers, which means tubers are already started whenever they flower. So here's some extra potted tomatoes that I just don't know what to do with. I have two sunflowers here up next to my goji or acai berry. I don't know which one it is. Here in these other planters, I got these planters on sale last year for I think $11 a piece, and they were $38 originally, so I got a steal. But in here I have a Cherokee purple tomato that I did from seeds, sent it in fan mail. There's also an Armenian cucumber right here, which something ate half of its roots, but I was able to put it in this container and get it going again. As you can see, there's peas in this pot and peas in this pot. They're just kind of around everywhere. There's a couple of Everglades tomatoes. This is a cherry tomato I started from seed. I enjoy having cherry tomatoes in planters up in the air so I can just pick them off and eat them. Here we just, there's all kinds. There's verbena flowers in these pots. And down here I added some extra seeds for flowers. We step here. Here is my massive chive plant. This thing's huge. It's only a year old now. Right there is cilantro, right there. That's catnip, which I'm surprised the cats haven't destroyed it yet. Back there we have some lemon balm. There's oregano, and this is a rhubarb that I added in. This thing is a water hog, which is good because this area gets a lot of water, and that thing is like a mop. It's just sucking it right up. So there's some okra getting started there. I already have had a cucumber off of my cucumber plants. I can't remember the variety of these cucumbers, but I just know that it was pretty tasty. So as you can see, this thing is covered in flowers. I'm just trellising it up this tomato cage. And all over the ground on my tarp is tomatoes that have popped up from last year's seeds. So as we get over here, I made this big old tent type thing for these vines to grow up. So right here we have a butternut squash that was sent in fan mail as well. So I only have one of them in here because I know they take over a lot. I guided him up a rope. So I apologize. It's going to keep cutting. I've tried everything to fix it out, but my SD card just will stop recording sometimes. So if it cuts, that's why. Apologize in advance. Here are my zucchini. These are just, the green zucchini. And you can see I pruned them quite heavily, but they're already grown back a lot. They're full of zucchini in there. I mean, covered. Here's a big old sunflower that popped up that I'm posting there. And there is a yellow summer squash. Here's my favorite part, which I'm very surprised it's this colorful. So at Home Depot last year during clearance, I bought these Veronica plants. And as you can see, these things are pretty. So these are those purple ones. Look at them. They get covered in bees too. Here's a new plant that I added. This is chamomile. So I got a big chamomile plant. And I just got all kinds of flowers in here. There's bee balm, sedum, allium, lamb's ear, Missouri primroses. So just to bring the bees in. Down here is a horseradish wall that I made to keep weeds out. So I used the horseradish to make it to where the weeds that were back here couldn't come in. So it kind of worked, and I could still eat the stuff. Here are some corn crates that were free at the local farmer's market. I took them, filled them with straw, and stuck tomatoes in. And these are all seed-grown tomatoes. And just a little experiment, but they are doing really well. I just stuck those in yesterday. Back here is where I put compost, but I've used a lot of it. Here's just some random sunflowers that have popped up. And right here is my mini patch of corn. So they say knee-high by the 4th of July, but it is at my hip level, this corn. So I did about 20 stalks of corn right here. And I have a spot where I'm going to have a lot more corn, but this is going to be worth 3 dinners at least, so that's good. Back here is some asparagus that I started. You can see it looks like a little fern pine tree thing. So that will be good next year. It's too small the first year you plant it. And now we're on this side. I know I'm talking fast, but I am trying to get everything in one video here. So we're just going to walk through here. These are my peppers. So as you can tell, my peppers are very low to the ground, but they're really bushy, and they're still trying to grow upwards a lot. And the reason for that is I prune these guys, and by pruning them, what it does is it pushes the energy back down and it bushes the plant out. So on most of the bell peppers, I left them tall. I never pruned them. But on ones like cayenne and jalapenos that make a lot of smaller peppers, I went ahead and pruned them. And as you can see, it's working quite well. So these guys are enjoying it. And also, real quick, all of those packs of tomatoes are sausage tomatoes that popped up from last year's. So the ones I never picked fell in the straw, and they popped up this year. So I have like 20 extra tomato plants there. Moving on before I pass out because I'm so out of breath. We have my tomatoes here. Now these are about right where my stomach starts, just above the hip. They're doing really well. I've pruned these quite a bit, but it helps them. So as you can see, for a little bit more depth here, you can see they're quite high. They're doing really well. I just now let the flowers go and stop picking the flowers off so that they can start tomatoes. But as you can see, back in there, we've got all kinds of tomatoes forming. So these are doing really well. They're going to outgrow this really fast. Moving on, we have English lavender right there. And this is French lavender from last year. I'm going to let it grow back. I'm not going to cut anything. Back in there, we have 2 extra bell peppers that I did from seed. And in this little container thing, there's thyme that hasn't come up yet. It's taking its time. Get it? This is parsley that I started in my arrow garden. It took well. And I got some dill in a pot here. Back here are my colder crops that I'm starting from seed now. there's spinach, a second batch of lettuce, there's cabbage, and broccoli. Right here in this container is some kale that I started from Dollar Tree seeds. That is Swiss chard, which is in a Dollar Tree pot as well. And right here we have two really nice jalapeno plants that are doing really well. They like this pot. There were 4 in here, but I thinned them out once they got going. And this guy right here is my Sun Sugar cherry tomato. This is my favorite tomato. They're really good, really sweet. And as you can see, this guy loves this container. I gave him his own container, and the stalk on this thing is already, I mean, look at that. Look at the stalk. And around the bottom I have all my lettuce growing, and we've eaten a lot of this lettuce. So this guy's doing really well. And I forgot to mention, or maybe I already did mention, but I just want to say it again. It's been about 40 days since I planted this stuff. So I think for 40 days it's doing quite well. But look at these little tomatoes. They are doing great. I'll be eating them in no time. And before we move to the newer garden, I'm going to really sprint through the new garden because that stuff's not doing as well because it's a new garden. But here's my strawberries. They're doing quite well. I'm not expecting any strawberries until next year because they're getting situated still. But right now they're getting tons of new growth. So let's move to the new garden. Alright guys, so this garden is a work in progress. The beginning of this year, this whole garden was this grass. And I turned it into this. So I think from that to this is quite good for like 2 months of work. So we got a garden cat in here. Over here's some extra asparagus roots that I threw in. As you see, they're sticking up. Asparagus. Here's my little compost pit with gourds popping up in it. Over in this section there's chairs, sedum from a friend. Back in here there's just some extra herbs, chives, oregano. Here I have some poles that I put peas at, so the peas are going to grow up them. And at this first row, which none of this under this tarp is tilled, and that's why these aren't doing as well as my other ones. But we'll still get quite a good harvest out of here. Coming up this hog panel, we have 4 extra cucumbers, which we're not going to be able to eat them all, so I might sell some. There we have a little marigold. And this first patch of tomatoes, they're about 1.5 feet tall. There's Romas, Better Boys, and I think cherry. Not 100% sure, but you can see it a little better when I stand it like this. So that's that first row. We have a dill plant right there. Over here are some more peas that can climb this. They're not doing as well as the other ones. Another marigold. There we have some watermelon. Another verbena. And then we have some extra peppers. So we got bell, and then sweet banana peppers. So as you can see, what I do is I put leaves around them to hopefully keep some water in. I can't even tell you on these tomatoes, they're just extras. So right here is where my microphone's died, but right here are all of my sausage tomatoes, and there are 6 of them, and I put them on the hog panel that you guys can see they're climbing. They're doing a lot better since I put leaves around them to keep water in. But these are like a paste tomato. That's an extra one right there. And then it is a purple grape tomato and I believe the other one's an ox heart. So I'm trying to keep up here with the voiceover, but this is a tomatillo. I've never even grown a tomatillo, but it was like $1.25, so I picked it up, and you can see it already has flowers. There's the Carolina Reaper. I have another one in my other garden I didn't show, but this one's doing a lot better. It is a little stressed, but I think it'll hold up. And then the last 4 are purple bell peppers, I believe. So if you move over to this little spot here, I just put my extra red potatoes about 1 foot under dirt, and then I covered them with leaves. So possible that we'll have a little harvest of them. And lastly, in this garden, there's a terrible looking pile of corn that I threw in. So maybe we'll get some corn, maybe we won't. I'm not sure. Alright guys, so Good thing that I realized that the microphone stopped working up there, but it's good. This camera still has a microphone on it. So we are down in the forest. I have had 2 ticks on me from down here, and you know, a not so good spot. You know, a spot that guys have. Let's just say that, alright? I've had 2 of them there this year from crouching down here. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that so much. Over in that forest is just my pumpkins and gourds. It is loaded. I'm not even going to bother showing yet because they're still kind of small, so they're stuck under all this grass. I mean, I could show you one right here. See those green leaves? See what I mean? They're kind of under the growth right now. Here's my little fire pit. And as we move here, look at this horseradish. If you guys go back on my channel not too long ago, I uploaded planting horseradish, onions, and garlic, alright? That's what we're going to be looking at today. And I just want to show you guys the progress on these things. So, here's the horseradish. It is about a foot above my hip. So, that's pretty tall. And in here, I'm gonna have to come in like after I stop filming and take these gourd plants out because they'll choke all these, you know, the plants out in here. So I'm gonna take them out of here in a bit and transplant them. But just look at these onions, guys. All right, it hasn't been a terribly long time since I planted these in here, and if you look at the size of these onions. They're already huge, and I come down and I took out all the dirt that was packed around them so they can grow a little bit bigger. But if you look at this size of these onions. There's my hand. So I've never really grown onions, to be honest with you guys. I've grown everything else, but like onions, I've always just kind of stuck them around in my garden. I never really tried to, you know, like actually grow them. But if you look, see this onion rotted, but look at that. That one rotted away, and it's still that big this early in the season. So, man, look at the size of them onions. It's looking good. So, something keeps coming down here and digging. I think it's a squirrel, but right around here is my garlic. And this right here is called Escape. You got to pick them off. They're edible, but I don't want it. But I did most of them already. So you see, if I don't take this gourd out of here, this is going to get completely devoured by these gourds. So once I stop filming, they're coming out. But just look at the size of them onions. I'm not going to touch the tops. They can stay how they are. And I'd be happy with 10 nice onions. So they're doing really well. This garlic's doing really, really well. Not as good as the onions, but it's almost to the onions. Let's just check here. Look at the size of that garlic already. This is where something come in and dug out this corner. But these need a little bit of attention here. But as you can see, this garlic's doing quite well. And if you guys want to see when I stuck this stuff in, you'll see it was super small when I put it in. So yeah, I need to do a little work on this part of the garden, but that should be about it for the garden. So alright, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm a little hot. Like I said, it's 90 degrees outside. I'm in Pennsylvania. That's not normal weather. So I've got some work to do here. I gotta get these gourds out. If it kills them, it kills them. I can't worry about it. I'd rather have garlic than gourds. So I'm pulling these guys out of here, getting the weeds from around the onions, and I'm pretty excited. We're gonna have a lot of stuff this year. Prices are way up on everything, so I think even if you grow a tomato, it's gonna help you in the long run. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm gonna actually start a series on pruning plants that I've grown for like over 10 years. So, you know, like tomatoes, mainly tomatoes and like squash and things like that. I'm gonna do some how-to videos on how to take care of them and prune them. So I'm gonna get to work down here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.